Hey everybody, before this math lesson, you are going to need to get your your math workbook, and you need to turn it to page 33. You're going to need a pencil and possibly a red pen, a whiteboard, and your math notebook. So pause this video and go ahead and get those things ready for today's lesson. Today, we are going to do lesson 6 of chapter 1, where we're understanding place value. And today's lesson is about comparing decimals. So today, our learning target is to compare decimals to the thousandths place. Our success criteria, which means how do you know you understand? You know you understand when you can choose a strategy to compare two decimals. You know how to use each of these symbols to compare two decimals. And not only can you compare, but you can take a group of decimals and put them in order from least to greatest or from greatest to least. This section in your math book is called Explore and Grow. Use models to compare the decimals. So we're going to take a look at each of these numbers, but following these directions, the first strategy we're going to try is to use models so that we can just see which one's bigger. All right, I hope you have all your supplies for our lesson today. And so, as you can see on the left of the screen is the workbook page that you should be on in your math book. I just have each problem written in my notebook so that I can show you how to do each one. I do not need you to write this in your notebook. No, no, no. You will put your answers in your math workbook on page 33. So make sure you're on page 33, and as I complete each problem, please put the correct answer in your math workbooks on page 33. All right, let's begin talking about each thing, and I'm going to grab a different color marker so you can see all my answers. All right, here we go. Today we're talking about comparing decimals, being able to identify which decimal has the greater value. The first thing in this lesson they want us to do is picture it. So over here I have drawn my models, and I would expect you to draw them too in just a minute. So since we're talking about tenths and hundredths, I've taken one whole square and I have divided it into rows of 10, and then also you can see the hundredths, each little piece. And here I just have it to show you that that would be 1/10, and that little teeny piece would be 1/100th. Now, in order to compare by using a model, we are going to actually draw the numbers and represent them over here to see if that helps us decide on which one had the greatest value. We'll start with 62 hundredths. Well, I know that this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 61, 62. Perfect. Now with a different color, I am going to show you what 26 hundredths looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I think we can see which one is larger. 62 hundredths is much greater than 26 hundredths. So we're going to put our answer for number 1 on page 33 as 62 hundredths is greater than, now make sure you can see that, greater than 26 hundredths. Let's go to the next one. Here we have 80 thousandths, and 80 hundredths and 8 tenths. They want us to visualize with our models which one is larger. Okay? I'm going to do 80 100ths first. That means I'm going to color in 80 of these little squares. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. All right. Now this says 8/10. Remember, tenths look like this. So I'm only going to do 8. That means 8 rows of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What? They're exactly the same. So 80 of these little hundredths is the same amount as 8/10. These are equal. For this next one, number 3, we're going to go on down to the question at the bottom of the page. How can we use a place value chart to compare decimals? Well, I've drawn a place value chart down here that says compare. I'm going to use my chart to decide which of these two decimals has the greater value. First of all, notice that my decimals are lined up. And then we have 3 places behind each decimal. Let's take our first number and put it in this chart. That would be 3 5/10. Now, let's take this number and put in our chart. That would be 3 55/100. Now, before we can compare these two numbers, I want to have the same amount of digits behind the decimal because it will make it much easier to compare. So since there are 2 digits behind this decimal, I want 2 here. So I'm going to fill this in with what we call a magic 0. It's a placeholder. Now I can compare. Would I rather have $3.50 or $3.55? I think we have a winner. We would rather have that. All right. We are going to now look at page 34. So if you would turn in your math workbooks to page 34. Again, what I put on my notebook today, you don't need to put in your notebook. You need to put it in your workbook on page 34. Here we go. Okie dokie, here we go. So we have 2 numbers we're going to compare on page 34. That is 3 wholes and 769 thousandths and 3 wholes and 749 thousandths. Okay? So we're going to compare these 2 numbers by using the place value chart because it helps us see very quickly which number is greater. So I'm going to first start by taking this number and moving it into my chart. The wholes go on this side, the parts this side. 3, 7, 6, 9. I'm going to do the same with this number. 3, 7, 4, 9. When we compare decimals in a number chart, we start on the left and we compare until we find a difference. Those 2 are exactly the same. So these are fine. Same, same. Wait a minute. Here's a difference and here's a difference. Because 6/100ths is bigger than 4/100ths, correct? So that number is bigger. And since 6/100ths is bigger than 4/100ths, then this number is larger than this number. Now, we could continue to draw our place value chart, but that sure would take up a lot of paper. So what I want you to do is, now that we're going to move to the next example on page 34, it wants us to compare 2 4/10 to 2 405 thousandths, right? No problem. I don't want to draw this every time, so the first thing I'm going to do is place my numbers right on top of each other. 2 4/10 2 and 405 thousandths. Notice that my decimals are lined up. Okay? Now, I've told you before that if there are 3 places here that we want these to, if we're going to compare them, we want the same amount of digits here as here, so it can be easily seen. We're going to fill those empty decimal place values with 0. Now we can compare. Same, 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 different, different. And because 5 thousandths is more than no thousandths, we can say that that number is definitely larger than this one. As we continue on page 34, there are a couple of problems here. I decided for number 1, I was going to use that place value chart. And then down here, I'm going to use the strategy to line up my decimals, compare from left to right, and use magic zeros when I need it. Let's start up here. I've already placed my 2 numbers in my place value chart. Same, 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 different, different. Which one's larger? The 7. So 9 and 63 thousandths is smaller than 9 and 67 thousandths. There's my answer. Then we're going to continue. And here I've taken the numbers and I've lined them up. Same, same. Well, I forgot to fill in with zeros. Yikes. Now, they're the same. Same, same, 8, 8's the same. The difference is here, 9 and 0. Because 9 is bigger, then we can say that 89 hundredths is bigger than 809 thousandths. Some of you might be saying, that teacher has lost her mind. 809 is a lot bigger than 89. But look again. When we lined up our numbers, and then we added the magic 0, this number is truly 890. And this one is 809. So this number wins every time. I now want you to turn to page 35. Now that we're on page 35, you're going to try numbers 3 through 8 on your own. Pause this video and with your pencil or pen, fill in the correct sign. You may use greater than, less than, or even equals to. When you're done, click that red pen, come back to the video and see which ones you've gotten right and which ones you've gotten wrong. Let's compare. I am stacking my decimals. 8, 8, 5, 3, 7, 5, 4, 1. I can do this quickly. They're the same. They're the same. Different. The 4 is bigger. It's the winner. Here we go again. Line it up. Line it up. Same, same, same. Bigger. It's the winner. Line it up. Same. Different. This one's bigger. It's the winner. See how fast you can get? I'm going to fill it in, that missing spot with a 0. And look, they're the exact same. Line it up. Line it up. Add my magic zeros. Same, same, same. That one's bigger. It's the winner. And last but not least, fill in the magic 0. Same, different. That one's bigger. It's the winner. Correct these with your red pen now. Okay, guys, so for number 9, we have 41 thousandths, and we're going to compare it to this number that's in word form, 41 6/10. I think I'm going to have to do this in standard form to compare. 41, and that means everything on this side is a whole number. 41 6/10. That's a 6 in the 10th place. So, which one's larger? Well, I have no whole numbers here and 41 here. That is our larger amount. Here we go again. We've got 7 thousandths. That means we have a 7 all the way in the thousandths place. Well, this is 7/10. Let's compare. We'll put this here. Would you rather have 700 or 7? 700. So we are going to put that as our largest number. Now we need to learn and talk about ordering. Your workbook is asking that you order these numbers from the least to the greatest. In order to compare these decimals, we must first line it up. So, let's line up each of these numbers. We must line up those decimals. All right, the wind's blowing my paper here. I'm outside. And you can use the notes in your notebook to help guide us as we do this. The notes in your notebook said that our first step is to line it up. Then we start from the left and we move to the right until we find a difference. 3, 3, and 3, all the same. 2, 2, and 2, all the same. 1, 5, and 1, wait a minute, there's a 5. We know right now that this is our largest number. I'm going to write the word largest. But these two are the same, so let's keep comparing. 4 and 4, same, same. 9 and 8. Our 9 is bigger than our 8, so this will be our middle valued number. I'm going to put mid, and that would make this one our smallest. Well, since we're going from least to greatest, I'm going to rewrite these. I hope you can see there. I'm going to rewrite them, and I'm going to write this one first, then this one second, and put our biggest one for last. Do that in your workbook now. Pause the video if you need to. We're going to continue to number 14, and first thing is to line up our decimals. Second, add zeros wherever we need to so that we have the same amount behind each decimal. Start from left, move to the right until we find something different. Same, different. All right, that 6 is smaller than these 7s. So I know right away this is the least of the group. Now we're going to the next row and column here, and we have an 8 and a 0. Well, that tells me that this number is the greatest. And this number goes in the middle. You go ahead and put that in your workbooks. Pause the video if you need to. All right, this brings us to number 13. And we're comparing these two numbers, and this square is confusing, but they want us to put in a number that would make this true. In other words, this side has to be bigger than this side. So this side is a 3 and a 1 and a 1. This is a 3, and there's some number that we're going to pick. It has to be bigger than this one. It doesn't matter what number you pick. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. As long as it's bigger than this one, then this statement's true. I think I'm going to choose 5. you pick your number and put it into your workbook page. Number 14, 28 and 60 hundredths is equal to 28 and 60 hundredths, but they want me to add a number here that would keep this equal. What number could we add to the end of a decimal that doesn't change its value? That's right, a magic zero. Even if we add that zero, they'll still be equal because they still have 6 tens, no hundredths, and no thousandths. Down at the bottom of this page is 2 sections. One is called Number Sense, where you really have to think about your numbers. The other is called You Be the Teacher, where you have to decide if someone's thinking is correct. Okay? Is 472 thousandths greater than or less than 47 thousandths? Let's see. I have to line it up before I can compare. And 47 thousandths looks like this. 47 ending in the thousandths place. Is this number bigger than this one? Yes. It said to explain. So I'm going to write yes. And the reason I'm going to write yes is because the first number has 4 tenths, which is like 4 dimes, and this number does not. Record that in your workbook now. Last but not least, you be the teacher. Your friend says that 45 and 6 tenths is less than 57. Is your friend correct? Let's see. Maybe if we're not really concentrating, that number looks a little bit like 456, but that decimal changes everything. It's 45 wholes and 6 tenths. I'd rather have 57 wholes. So that, my friend, this friend who said that, is definitely wrong. Record that in your workbooks. Now, complete the workbook pages in your math workbook, 37 and 38 on your own.